Easily one of the best parts of our Fridays because we get to combine some baseball with horse racing at 11:30 every Friday morning here on Big Board Sports ESPN Radio. We have Paul Duca with us. Paul, it's been a lot of fun all summer long, man. It's nice to have you one last time here.
I appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun, too, as well. The Travers show was fun. Didn't realize you were that handsome when you actually clean up.
You know, I've been hearing that a lot.
Well-dressed. He's a well-dressed man.
Not that but Chris Kay says to me on the night of the draw, you're in a suit and a tie. I say, yeah, that's the benefit of radio,
right?
Is not having to be dressed up all the time.
That's how I would dress. You know, I rock the tie-dye, Under Armour, baseball cap. Chris is still fairly dressed up.
Yes,
that's
true.
Plaid shirt and blue shorts. Like
I should be from California.
You do have the Long Beach thing going.
Yeah.
Chris Honorato, Ashley Miller, in for Roger here this morning. And Paul pointed out he's not on the hook for dinner after our News Channel 13 Travers show because cloud computing did not come in. But you were, I'll tell you
Is
what,
he
man.
He might be.
Well, you had it with IRAP and West Coast, and I will bet you a lot of people watching that night and listening to you said, West Coast guy, of course, he's going to take 2 West Coast horses. But they ran well, and they were in the trifecta.
They did, and the crucial mistake that I made is if you go back and you look, I picked Gunnabera to win the Derby. And the reason why was I saw the horse run in Florida, and then on the way to the Derby, somebody had mentioned that he had been losing weight. He really couldn't take the grind of the Derby trail. And I did not process that before the Travers, because if you think about it, here's a horse that had an easy race, was laid up, came back in the paddock, and Maggie had mentioned, wow, he looks really good, looks like the same kind of weight he had on before the Florida Derby and from other races. And, like, I had one of those come-to-you-know-what moments, and I'm like, oh, my God, he's going to run big here. And he did. He ran giant. But you run into Bob Baffert and Mike Smith. They just know how to get it done. And the West Coast horses, I say this all the time. When they come over here for dirt, they win. When they come over here from the turf, they can't. And vice versa. It's just dirt's the game in California. Speed's the game in California. And I don't care what people want to say. You know, when Bob Baffert leaves, or if he ever leaves California, then you can say what you want. But their horses win.
Yep. Interesting. Will we see... I should ask it this way. Is the best racehorse in the country running this weekend here at Saratoga in the Woodward?
I'm going to say yes, and I'll tell you why. You know, obviously Arrowgate, a lot of people will still stick with Arrowgate, but to me, being an athlete and then watching these guys, horses that are athletes go, every time I watch Gun Runner work or do anything, he doesn't make any mistakes. He works great in the morning. He looks impeccable. He sort of runs with his neck out like he wants to beat you even when he's working. Where I keep seeing Arrowgate make mistake after mistake. So now is he going backwards and is Gunrunner keep going forward? Now, supposedly Arrowgate hates the racetrack. There's been a couple times he didn't even want to train on it, but they're running him on it because the Breeders' Cup's there. And I even know that Bob's tinkered putting the blinkers back on or not. So you have so many question marks where there's no question marks for Gunrunner. He's going to run into 2 decent horses in Neolithic and Rally Cry. I think they're both going to be good challenges for him because it's way better field than he faced last time. But if he crushes those horses and does everything like he's been doing in the morning, yeah, he's the best horse because right now he's on his game.
We're joined by Paul Duca, Saratoga Live NYRA analyst. You see him every afternoon on Fox Sports and MSG Plus in a new multi-year deal with Saratoga Live and Fox Sports. Of course, you know Paul more than anything from his Major League Baseball days, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Marlins, the Nationals. Paul, let's talk some baseball. I'm a little stunned, honestly, at the big names that have moved late here in the season. Justin Verlander goes to Houston. Justin Upton goes to the Angels. Now, they both have big money tied to them. That, of course, is a huge reason as to why they're moving. But do you remember a time where waiver wire deals included such big names?
Not this big of names.
Yeah.
You know, usually you get to the 31st deadline and the big names. Not this big of names. Because a lot of it has to do with, hey, they got to be able to qualified to get on to the playoff roster.
Right.
That was half the problem of most of the guys. But these guys moving late now, maybe this is a different precedent that, hey, we can be able to go get a big guy. And you make a great point. A lot of times people get moved, yeah, for maybe a necessity or for a rental for a little while. Like, obviously, with the Astros, you're going to get a big-time pitcher.
Sure.
That's going, though, from a big-time pitcher's ballpark to a big-time hitter's ballpark. So, to me, wrong move for the Astros. They're getting a name to satisfy their fan base. And hey, maybe they're getting a guy, but he's, I think, at the tail end of his career. I'm not in love with that move. So, you're making moves, and the Upton move, he puts some power. It's a lot of different things you bring. But you make a great point, as in a lot of these are just money moves that the team doesn't want to pay him. The Tigers want to dump the money, this and that. Houston's willing to pick it up, and Houston's got a big, big shot. I mean, let's be honest. If it runs the course, it's the Dodgers against the Astros in the World Series. They've by far been the best.
I was just going to ask you to kind of handicap each league for us here. You still like Houston in the AL?
Well, here's the thing. It's not much to handicap, right? I mean, the Dodgers keep pushing forward, even without Clayton Kershaw.
Yep.
Could be a blessing that he missed part of this season so that maybe he can be the playoff pitcher that they've wanted him to be. I think he showed glimpses last year.
Yeah, right.
Coming out of the bullpen for a save doesn't mean you're the greatest pitcher.
The Cardinals beat him. Outside of St. Louis, he hasn't been as bad, I think, is right.
He hung one slider to a lefty, and it's ruined his, whatever.
Right.
Meanwhile, the guy's put up better stats than Sandy Koufax. But if you say that to a Dodger fan, even to my father even wants to slap me when it comes to talking about Sandy Koufax. But the guy's sick.
Yep.
So, and then you got the best offense in baseball with the Astros. It's not even close to the two best teams. So when you look at baseball and teams get hot, this and that, a little bit like hockey. You get a hot goalie, you move. You get a hot pitcher, maybe a hot closer. I always go back to the Angels when they brought up Frankie Rodriguez from AA, basically won them the World Series. So this is a different year. These two teams have by far been the best two teams, and I just don't see anybody beating them in a 7-game scenario.
And no worry in terms of the losing streak for the Dodgers. You don't think it's any sort of extended whatever?
No, you obviously don't want to go into the playoffs playing bad or going into the end of the season playing bad, but they were due for one of these. I mean, they were just rolling. And, Kershaw comes back tonight. I think that will give him a little lift. Sometimes you go on cruise control. The 2006 Met team, we had clinched early.
Yep.
We were on cruise control. And then we had to wake up in the playoffs. And then we were going to get beat in Game 1 against the Dodgers. And luckily, two guys ran into me at home plate.
That was
changed the whole series. Bad base running by Jeff Kent and J.D. Drew changed the whole series, woke us up. So, and then after that, we played well. Unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. We lost in Game 7. But, you make a good point. You don't want to be, crawling into the playoffs. You want to have a little – I think that the Dodgers are more concerned to two people. They need Kershaw and Jansen because Kenley, you can argue, is the best closer in the game for the last 2-3 years, and you're going to need him for 2 innings, inning and a half stays. So – if I'm Dave Roberts, I'm protecting those two guys towards the end. I think you build up Kershaw with his next couple starts because you want him to be able to be your horse,
Yankees get a win last night over the Red Sox, Paul. It's 4.5 games. I've declared them done in the AL East a few times this year.
You have.
And I've had to go crawling back to say, well, maybe. But the 4.5 feels like a big deficit. Can this Yankees team, even if they just get in through the wild card, can they make noise in October?
I think they can. They got a lot of young bats that are stuff, and put it in someone's terms, never been to playoffs, really, if you think about it.
Inconsistent.
Lightning in a bottle. You don't know. No. You just don't know how these kids are react. Now, is Aaron Judge going to get in the playoffs and strike out 12 times? No. But he could also hit 6 home runs.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez could also hit 5. The thing that's scary about the Yankees, I think a lot of people don't want to face them, is that they have that capability to just put up runs and get on a roll. And they got a good enough bullpen. I know Chapman's been struggling the whole 9 yards, but that will change around. They got a good enough. If they can get starting pitching and get them through 5-6 innings, they're a frustrating team to watch. They're a typical American League ball club where they strike out, waiting for the 3-run homer. Strike out, waiting for the 3-run homer. But when you run into a team like that in the playoffs, they can be dangerous.
That was the Earl Weaver mentality, right? Was, wait for that 3-run homer, and sometimes it never comes.
Isn't all baseball sort of like that now?
It has become, and it's tough to watch, honestly. I mean, as a Braves fan, I've really enjoyed what they've done to rebuild, but every criticism I hear of them is they don't have any big boppers in the minors or in the majors right now outside of Freddie Freeman, so who's going to hit the home runs? And I think, look, I'm a National League guy through and through, always have been. Move the guys along, find ways to create runs instead of hitting it over the wall. But maybe that's why I'm old.
No, you're not old. It's just like they forgot how to move runners over.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the fundamentals of the game have changed. I can't remember last time I saw a position player run a guy over.
I say no small ball. None at all.
There's no small ball.
Yeah.
Mike Scioscia's the only one that wants to play it because he was a National League guy, and he plays it a little bit with the Angels. But, when I was coming up, I remember throwing out Vince Coleman in AAA. He was down on a rehab assignment. That was the most pumped-up thing ever.
Yep.
I was literally out of my skin. They threw out Vince Coleman. Guys threw 100 bases.
Right.
Not happening. Guys aren't even attempting 40 stolen bases. The coaches say, stand by first base and let this guy swing the bat. Completely different ball game. And when it comes to the Braves fans, I almost said this before the year. That ballpark that they had before was in a weird spot because a lot of people don't understand or realize this because I used to wonder why the ball didn't fly in Atlanta. Elevation-wise, it's the second highest elevated ballpark in the major leagues besides Colorado. I think a lot of people don't understand that. So now a new stadium and the ball's flying out of there. I just think the other stadium had something weird about it. When they opened up that new stadium, I had a feeling it was going to be a hitter's ballpark. So now I'm wondering the Braves are going to have to change the way they look at stuff because the ball's flying out of there. And the ball, let's be honest, is a little bit juiced.
It has to be. I mean, they are going to shatter the single season record for home runs. They're going to hit more than 6,000 home runs this season.
And Manfred says they've been checked, they haven't been checked, they were checked. Give me a break, though. Can
I ask you one more favor here while
Sure.
we've got you? I know you've told the story on other platforms. I have to ask you to share with our audience your Giacomo story.
Oh, wow. 2005, I'm playing with the Florida Marlins. And about, I'd say 3 or 4 months earlier, Mike had given me Giacomo, Mike Smith. 6-1, he broke his maiden. So I had liked the horse. He had run, I think, 3rd or 4th, and he had qualified in the Santa Anita Derby or on 2nd or 3rd. And coming up on Derby Day, I liked the horse. I end up looking, and I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. The Marlins schedule a 5:30 game. Like, we've never had
on a Saturday.
Yeah.
When is that? I mean,
no 5:30
on any day.
ever. I'm like 7 o'clock. Okay, 1 o'clock. You're burying me. This is brutal. So at that time, I was playing online, and I had bet the horse. Calder, which is now Gulfstream Park Rest, you can throw a stone to Pro Player Stadium. So I went over, played the horse, whole 9 yards. So we're in the 2nd inning. The race is going off. Guy goes to steal second base. I mean, I was Pudge Rodriguez. I threw him out by 40 feet. I was like, I'm running in the clubhouse. I ran in the clubhouse. The horses are on the backside. They're in the race. So I'm hearing Tom Durkin make the call.
Full catcher's gear?
Full catcher's gear.
Still, yeah.
I think I had... No. I'd taken off my chest protector.
Okay.
I had my shin guards on. And next thing you know, I just hear him go, Giacomo, because that was what he called, because he called him late. Because I was looking for him, and when he crossed the wire first, I'm going ballistic. I'm jumping up and down. So now you're feeling you're losing track of time.
Yes.
Okay. I can hear the phone ring, and it's the clubhouse guy. It's my buddy calling because he wants to alert me that Giacomo won. But then he can hear me in the background, and I can hear him go, no worries, I know he really knows. The clubhouse kid walks in and goes, dude, what are you doing? I'm like,
now you hit second in the order for most of your career.
I was right behind Juan
right?
Pierre. Juan Pierre just walked. So he comes in and goes, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean, man? I just won $50,000 on the Derby. I'm like, everybody's coming. He's like, you're up. What? So I literally walk out, and the umpire's got his hands on his hip, waiting for me. So I come to the plate, and we're playing the Expos. Brian Schneider was the catcher. And I forget who was pitching, but I won Brian. I just won $50,000 on the Kentucky Derby. Just tell him to throw right down the middle, bro. This is going to be the easiest 6-3 of your life. So then the umpire looks at me and goes, what? He goes, don't worry about it. I'll tell you when I come back out. Threw me a fastball down the middle. I grounded into a 6-4-3 double play. I jogged down the first like it was the best double play ever. Because the best part about it is a lot of the clubhouse guys that didn't know horse racing bet the horse too.
Yep.
It was just one of those surreal things. And I ended up telling Jack McKeon afterwards because he was my manager, what was going on. And then afterwards he had a cigar and he started laughing. We won the game, thankfully. So it was, and I would imagine Jack McKeon's the type of guy who's going to laugh about something.
Yeah.
What I would hate is, and I'm sure you've gotten it, there are fans out there who probably would lose their mind over something like this, but a moment where a professional athlete is a human being.
Right.
Like, yes. Like, I would treat a newscast the same way. If I just won $50,000 on the Kentucky Derby, I'd go out for that 6 o'clock newscast.
Oh, no, I'm watching the horse gallop back. I'm like, dude, I lost complete track that I'm in a Major League Baseball game. I'm starting this game, catching it down. I'm like, oh, did the horse... In the middle, the clubhouse kid comes running in like, dude, what are you doing? They've been waiting outside for 2.5 minutes for you to go hit.
It's a Little League moment, like little Johnny's not paying attention.
Oh. He wanted to kill me. I think it was Jerry West, hold on. It might have been Jerry West. It was an old school umpire.
Or Joe West.
Not Joe West.
Oh.
No, it was Jerry, what was his name? Not Joe. No. I've been throwing out about 15 games in my lifetime. Joe got me about 12. So.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, Cowboy Joe.
How many of those did you earn?
Couple. Probably half. You know what he used to say to me? Chris, hey, look, Duca, you going to stay in this one today? It's like, Joe, you know what?
It's up to you, Joe.
But I'll tell you another good story, and I'll let you go. Joe West hated me. And I'll never forget, we're facing the Phillies in a big game down in October, and Billy Wagner comes to the plate. Comes out for the save.
Yeah.
And Joe West is umpiring. So I go give him the ball, and I'm like, man, he's being a you-know-what today. The strike zone's tough. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I gave him my 57 Chevy to drive for the week. The strike zone's going to be big. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, no. He loves old cars. I gave him my car to drive for the whole weekend. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All I needed to do is rent this guy a car.
Yeah, really.
Throwing out a 20.
Right.
He rung up 3 guys on balls like 3 feet inside. I'm like, this is unbelievable. I'm like, Billy Wagner this whole time is Joe West's best friend. And meanwhile, I've been getting chucked out by this guy for like 10 years.
Right. Just get him a classic
That's a
car.
True story.
Toughest pitcher you ever faced? Wagner's nasty, but
Wagner was nasty when I faced him. As in, the guy I couldn't hit was Rob Nen back in the day.
Yeah.
He used to come out to Smoke on the Water, which was intimidating enough. And he threw me... He used to throw me slider after slider, and I used to just swing and miss at him. He's the one guy I just could not hit. I could never see the ball. He was tough. And I'll tell you what, the late Darryl Kyle, we lost him way too young. He passed away. Yep. Just in his room, natural causes. I'll tell you what, he threw a breaking ball that was over your head, and you would look up and it would be down. It was the nastiest breaking ball I ever saw. And I get choked up because I met Darryl a couple times, such a good guy. We lost him too soon. I think a lot of people forget about him. Yep. He was nasty.
Paul, it has been a pleasure. It has been an absolute pleasure all summer long. Thank you for giving us the time. I know you have such long days here. The weeks are long in Saratoga, so we appreciate everything, man.
Thanks, Chris.